Hi there. So in this lesson, we're going to create a color palette. And to do that, I usually use some pictures that I find on the internet. So I'm going to do Ctrl-Shift-P to place the pictures. And we can use it because we're not actually going to copy the pictures. We're just going to use the colors. So it doesn't matter if these are pictures that you just find on Google, for example. So I'm just going to place the pictures here. Okay. And the next thing we need to do is to create some squares that we can use for the color. So we go to the rectangle tool, which is M on your keyboard. And if you click and drag and if you hold Shift, it will give you a square. You don't have to use a square, but it's quite, I quite like it. So what I do is I just give it a, oops, not this one. I give it a fill color. So I can see the square, and then click and drag, press Alt and press Shift, so it will keep it in the same direction here. And then once you've done this one time, you can click Ctrl D, and this will repeat what you've just done. So you will have a few squares to play with, and of course you can select them all and copy them on the other side. Just hold the Alt key and the Shift key. And then if you select, generally I try to pick between 6 and 8 colors. You can have 10 maybe. It depends on the complexity of your final pattern. So we can select the first box, and then with the eyedropper tool, which is I on your keyboard, or you will find it here on the left as well, you can start choosing colors. I found this nice sort of purpley color, which is quite lovely. It makes a change from the usual white. And you want really a selection of colors from light to dark, and then sort of middle color, and also some neutrals as well. It's quite nice to have. To select the next square, you hold the Control key or the Command key, and your cursor will become the selection tool again. So select the next square and then let go of the Control key, so you don't have to keep switching manually. And then you can choose another color. So we have the dark one, and then something in between. Yeah, something like this maybe. And then we can choose some greens. That's quite dark. So sometimes the eyedropper tool doesn't really pick the color that you think it will pick, but there is another way to pick colors. I can show you. So we have a light color. I'm using this one now, this picture. So you can use pictures like different ones. You don't have to use the same one. And the other way, we can pick maybe some neutral from the white flowers. This is almost like a gray. Oh, that's interesting. This is what I mean when I say it picks colors that you don't even realize they're there. This looks almost like a blue. And then another way that I use to pick the colors is to go to the swatches panel and go to swatch libraries menu. And here there is color books, and there are some Pantone books, which is unfortunately is not the very expensive versions that you buy, but it gives you a big selection of colors. You can see here there's loads of colors to choose from. And what I like to do is I put the square, maybe not that one, next to the color I like to pick. Let's see, maybe a green, one of these greens, and then scroll down to the green colors, and then start picking colors until I find something that sort of looks like the green that I'm looking for. So this is actually not a bad green. So I can put this back here. Yeah, maybe this one. So we want a light green. Let's see. So there is a difference between the first green and the second green, which is quite good. And then maybe we can have from here a darker green, just to have the option if we want to. And yes, I think these are enough colors for now. And then when you're happy with the amount of colors that you have, then select all of your swatches. And of course, you can always add more colors. You keep the pictures saved, then you can add more. So select all of your squares here, and then you go to the swatches panel, and you go to the little folder, new color group, and you can rename this. You can leave it as a color group. You don't have to rename it. And then click OK. And you will have your colors here. One thing I didn't mention, if you put a stroke on the square here, you would have the color of that stroke in your color group as well. You can always delete a color from there anyway, but just be mindful of that. And then if I get rid of these other colors that I never use, so you can click on one color, then hold shift and click on the last swatch, and then just drag it to the bin. I think I'm gonna do the same with these ones. Okay, so sometimes I just leave these, they might be useful. And then you have your new color group. And what you can do, you can actually save this if you want. So you go to the little menu here on the left, on the right, and you save it as a library as AI, and you can give it the name that you want. And then just save. And this means that if you open a new document, you will be able to find it in your library. So you go to the library here and you go to user define. And I got loads here because I've been working with Illustrator for a while. So if you don't see it in the list, you just scroll down. And there it is, Lily of the Valley. And when you click it, it will appear, and then you just have to click on the little icon and it will transfer it here in the swatches panel. And I think that's it for the color palette. You're ready to go to the next lesson.